Welcome in. This button. Let's make sure I have everything turned back on. I believe I do. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 11th. Doing a viewer suggestion today. Corvus is with us. That's all I got. That's all I got. Okie dokie. Need to be in the right chat. That would be helpful. How are you today, Corvus?
I am alright. I woke up to unexpected snow.
Nice. I like snow, so that's always awesome to me. Let's draw some rugby. Elliot, welcome in. Live alert came through. Live alert came through.
Like that you're alive.
Oh, got it. I was thinking of life alert, which is like the help I've fallen and can't get up thing.
Yep.
Yeah. James, welcome in. Anti-smart, well, welcome. Let's start with some rugbies today. Uh-oh. Oop.
Help, I'm falling. I can't get up.
Hey.
I'm sorry, your insurance has denied this claim.
Right, here's... Ugh.
Sorry.
Ugh. Oh, man. Talk of the nation, right? Just like... Gotta summon my internet life and death cleric. There you go.
Right.
What's up?
Weird. I was briefly on Twitter, then like I saw that like Instagram was trending. I was like, why is Instagram trending? Apparently it's down for some people, but not for me.
Interesting. It's begun. Skip cat. What is your jam right now? Why is it that every time I start drawing, you think you can just come up here and harass me? Because I'll give you treats. Because you know what this means. You get a hug, you get scritches, and then you get put on the floor.
No. Well, apparently it's sort of is down. The only messenger. Like the message part of Instagram.
Okay. Your insurance has denied your claim. Exterminate. That, I mean, the Daleks could be a evil corporation. I could see that. That's kind of what they were meant for.
Exterminate.
Dabba. Oh, it's happening. Can't stop it now.
What's happening?
It's a Christmas rugby.
Oh.
Shaylin and Nathus. Do I follow Shaylin? I don't know if I do.
I mean, you're an artist.
I guess so. Wait, maybe I'm confusing Shaylin with someone else. Who's the drunken guy?
Right? Okay. That
Kate
is.
Killian.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Maybe Shaylin is
The happy
one.
drunk.
Yep.
These new bells came out.
It's one of those things where, like, I'd like to be Saren Ray, but I probably am closer to Shaylin. Creating art is the act of worship. Yeah, I just watched season 2 of Invincible, and now I just want to draw everything with a mustache.
I'm sorry.
The Viltrumites are authoritative assholes, but they got good stashes.
They all have mustaches.
Yeah, it's like a
Is it,
it's like a defining feature of them.
I hate it.
It's really funny.
Nope. So dumb.
So much so that, like, there's a guy that is in disguise and he takes off his beard and he still has the mustache, and everyone's like, "Oh God!" Like it's that definitive. Like,
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I actually don't know if anybody that's not a Viltrumite has a mustache. Interesting.
Is it Mark part 1?
He's half human, half Viltrumite, so
He only gets a little thin mustache.
yeah, they don't really talk about it. I don't think. But that might be the human part of it, is that he doesn't have a mustache.
That's kind of lame. Sorry. They were a new adventure path came out today, and I was looking at some of the stuff that's in it because it's on Demiplane. And they released a wyvern mount,
Okay.
and so it can fly, but if it's mounted with a rider, it can only fly in short bursts until level 14.
Yeah, I was looking at that with like the Strix too, and I really think they're trying to slowly reintroduce flight into combat, but the problem is with the 3-point system. If you have 120 fly speed, you can essentially just like leave. You can go half a kilometer in 6 seconds. It's just like, So, so a lot of like the way I've been
Yeah,
running it
maybe
for
don't
Druid-
give people that high of a fly speed then.
Right. What I've been doing for Druid is basically like in combat, you can use the burst that they give you, but out of combat, flight is just fine, right? Like, I really think that we have to look at those restrictions as in combat effects, because it's like in combat to retain your ability to like be defensive and not just like you're not just soaring mindlessly, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's taking some effort. It's slower, and that's the way I've been looking at it and thinking about it. Zonkathon was a normal search choice.
Wait, what?
I know I'm trying to read what Elliot's talking about here.
Yeah.
Tried looking at Pathfinder God of Mustaches. Zonkathon was a normal search choice. Interesting. So the writers are fat. I mean, that's the other thing people don't get about like birds. It's like birds are designed with like they're hollow. Birds are hollow. We talked about this the other day with Druid, that like birds have like air sacs in them and stuff too, just to make themselves lighter for their volume. And like hawks and birds of prey are really interesting because they can snatch things out of the air and or like pick up a fish, right? Like eagles can pick up a fish. Fish don't weigh that much. Like, comparatively.
I will say though, golden eagles, confirmed, can drag a goat off a mountain and drop it.
Right.
So.
Golden eagles are fucking huge, right? And they're not picking it up and flying off with it. They're flicking it off a mountain.
I mean, that's still pretty strong for a bird.
I mean, yeah, but the goat's not riding on its back wearing plate mail. That's my point. That's my point. So, like, any of the creatures you have that are, like, that you're riding as a flying mount, like, griffins are magical, right? So they've got both bird parts and lion parts. They're already carrying the lion parts. So, I don't know. That's got to have some weird magical connotations to it just to make it function, you know?
I will say, I'm not talking about birds, I'm talking about a wyvern.
Yeah. Well, okay. Okay, that's fair. Like, right? Dragons, to me, are on that magical spectrum. Dragons, sure, pick up a mountain, I don't care. Fly away with the building, whatever. Wyverns, I think, are bird-like dragons. Time to rock. Yeah, I mean, rocks are a good example, too. Like, rocks are the, you know...
I guess my issue is, more or less with the wyvern, is less that it's the rule, and just that it's the exception to the rule that they have for other flying creatures that are able to be mounted. They just have them. You can't have one until you're like level 14. And then you have the wyvern where you can presumably have this at level 1 because it does have a level restriction on it. And then it's just like, why not just make this a high level mount?
Does it have a breath weapon?
No.
Okay.
I don't think wyverns in 2nd edition have breath
I don't
weapons.
think they do.
They have a poison stinger or poison bite,
Gotcha.
poisonous bite.
I feel like there's no medium or heavier armor restrictions would make sense alongside no creature larger than medium could work on flying mounts if implemented in a good way. Yeah, I think a lot of it's just got to be kind of common sense, right? Like, if you're a gnome, maybe it's fine. If you're a Goliath, probably not, right? Like,
Yep. You probably would need like an extra large or super strong mount.
it's the same thing of like, I want to have a cat as a mount, and it's like, maybe like a giant panther if you're a small creature. But like,
I mean,
even He-Man
dinos.
had to magically juice his cat up before he could ride it.
I'm gonna say like, I don't know, the night elves from WoW, they ride around on panthers.
Elves don't weigh anything. Elves are like a gust
They
of
walk on
wind.
snow.
Yeah. Elves can walk
Just
on tree
saying.
branches and not snap twigs as they walk because they don't weigh anything. All right, there's a rugby done.
Unless they made the concession considering like where you're getting the wyvern from being like, this is like an orc trained wyvern. So like maybe that's why it can only fly in bursts when mounted. I don't know.
I think it's another example of the rules are written in a way that are trying to balance things out. Everything is going to have to go through your DM, right? I mean, like...
Yeah. Like the moon thing we were discussing earlier.
Yeah, if you want to turn the moon into a soul cage, I'm sure someone's tried to do that already, and I'm sure everybody killed him. So,
Yep.
I'm not worried about it.
There's literally a whole anime arc about this. It's
I mean,
called
there's
Naruto.
Did you play Majora's Mask?
No.
Okay.
I've mentioned that I've never played any.
Oh, they're so good.
But also, Link is dead. I know that much. This is all...
That's no.
Yeah.
No.
He falls down and dies.
There are. Wait, what are you talking about?
In Majora's Mask, like, doesn't he like fall down a hole and like ends up in the new world?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look that up. He's not actually dead. Like, I don't think.
That's
But-
what everyone has told me. Like, oh yeah, Majora's Mask, Link's just dead.
Let's look it up. I want to hear this. Is Link dead? Majora.
It might just be a stupid creepypasta thing that someone
Right,
just
right.
regurgitated to me.
Link does technically die after Majora's Mask.
For me, it's just I've never played any
I think that's a
Legend of
okay.
Zelda games.
There's a game theory about it. There's a whole game theory episode about it. I understand.
Of
now.
course.
The Zelda timeline is conflated, but I kind of like it. I kind of dig it. So, what was I doing? Oh, viewer suggestion. Yeah, here we go. Roll some dice. Tiny skelly boy piloting a warforge. There's some extra stuff in here. Warforged monk with the head of a tiny skeleton. Okay. If you are a warforged that is being piloted by something else, you're technically not a warforged. You're a construct.
Yep.
You are a robot at that point. Words have meaning. No, Zelda is cool. Because, like, it's one of my favorite series. Because I've played it since the beginning. It was one of the first games I played. But the whole premise is, like, after the first... Well, not after the first game. The first game happens, and then they have the second game, and then you have, like, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, which are sequels. And then they did Skyward Sword, which is the first one, I think. The timeline split on whether or not you beat the game. And so then in Ocarina of Time, it splits again on whether or not you defeat Ganon. And so there's these two timelines of whether or not the hero dies or the hero succeeds.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how all the games are made. And so it's kind of fun because you can figure out which timeline you're in. Based on the universe you're talking about, and they have different characters and stuff for each different thing, which is cool. It's just like deep lore, which I appreciate. Instead of having to just have like consecutive games where it's just like one after another, makes it more episodic. And Link and Zelda are just reoccurring characters in each of the timelines, but they're different every time, which is neat. Boom. Can we talk about meat suits for a little bit?
In what context?
The first way you described it, I thought it was an alien from Men in Black. A little bit. I think that's what it is. So our brain is ridiculous, right? Like, the amount of processing power our brain does to function is catastrophically huge in a way that our bodies can't actually... Like, we haven't gotten that much computing power yet, right? So whenever I see a tiny little man piloting a robot with 2 joysticks, it drives me up the wall. And even like Power Rangers drives me up the wall a little bit. I'm still gonna draw it that way, and I'm not saying that like you need to have the Tokyo Drift Neo dive crap from Pacific Rim, but that makes way more sense to me if you want to control a humanoid robot than joysticks.
To give credit due Power Rangers, though, they're working with like 0 budget compared to other shows.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
Like, I don't expect them to do something like that, but it's literally like there's 5 of them, right? And are they each controlling a different part of the body? Is the body just doing its own thing and they're like pushing buttons? Because they have keyboards essentially. Like they have the Starship Enterprise, but as a robot. Like how does that actually work? I would love to play that game, by the way. Did you ever see Artemis?
No.
So somebody made basically a Star Trek bridge simulator, and it was meant to be a 5 to 10 or 5 to 6, 5 or 6 person like multiplayer game experience, where one person is the captain and they have like the view screen and everything going on, and then everyone else, their screens are only their comm station or their weapons station, and that's it. And that seems fun. That seems like a fun thing. And if you built that for the Power Rangers, that'd be fun too, I think. Go punch with the arm. Okay. Like, that's what it feels like. But I think like Evangelion did it really well. With the thought of like, you basically have to say that your body is controlling the body. Like you just hook it up to your brain. But yeah. What was the other one? What was the one with the car?
You just scrubbed so many different things.
There's a cartoon from like the early 2000s where it's like Mega XD or something, where the guy has a car that transforms into a robot and he fights things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Handles.
That robot like is literally an alien and crashes the earth with these 2 bros.
Mm-hmm.
They turn into their car, or it turns into their car.
And they control it with the steering wheel and the gas pedal. It doesn't
Why
make
not?
any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Does it need to make sense?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't
for
at all.
a kid.
Nope. And that's my point. Like, it's totally fine. I'm gonna do it here anyways. But it drives me crazy.
You think too much like an engineer and not enough like someone who's marketing toys to kids.
I'm fine with the suspension of disbelief, but like I think the more you can make something make sense, the more impactful it will be. So
as someone who has bought into those not games but toys and everything, because I am a fair bit younger than you, grew up during a lot of that stuff, especially during like the late 90s and early 2000s where it was probably at its height. We didn't care.
Yeah. I mean,
it looked cool.
At the end of the day, like,
I feel like I'm really being mean to you. I'm
no.
not. I feel like
No, I get
I'm
what
not
you're saying.
trying to be.
I'm being like kind of pedantic, but very passive. Like, I don't care. Like I'm saying, it's a nitpick, but it's not a good nitpick. It doesn't matter. My opinion of it being stupid is just it's moot.
It's moo.
You don't control the joystick, you become the joystick. Yeah, that's a good explanation of it. Like, I think Gurren Lagann actually talks about that. Like, the controls themselves don't actually matter. It's just however you think you should be controlling it. That's what it does for you. Which is kind of a cop-out, but also I dig it. I dig that. That's fine.
So I imagine you really liked Escaflowne.
I was going to bring that up when you yelled at me about buying the toys. Escaflowne does a really cool job, with the caveat that, like, the robots only work because they're powered by dragon hearts. It's just like, but like, you get plugged into that thing. Like, you get plugged into it. It essentially
violently plugged in.
It like eats you a little bit.
So with like Gundams, at least some
Yeah,
versions
like,
of
I
Gundams,
think-
where like you have like this suit
The first
glued onto you, and
the first Gundam was very much like just a cockpit, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, it's got this for joysticks, that just handles that go forward and back, and it's like, what does that even do? It's just like, go or not go. Somehow full body control, right? And then later they like added like finger joints in some of the like Appleseed shows, where like it's actually just using the articulation of your hands, which is super cool. The more realistic, the cooler it gets. And then yeah, I think like the Gundam Zero suits, I think are my favorite because they like plug into you all over, and then the vision around you became what you saw outside of the robot, which was super dope. Like, that's cool.
That may be the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So there's one I watched. The biggest thing I remember for it was they had this international Gundam tournament arc.
I honestly never got to watch it because it was on normal TV the time that I had to go to church. So I only ever got to watch it if I faked sick and stayed home from church. But go on. So I know nothing about the story.
I remember when it was coming on, like, Toonami, when I would come home from after school. So that's the only time I ever really got to watch it. But, like, I remember, like, the transition, like, quote-unquote magical girl transformation, when they would, like, hop into the Gundam. And, like, they would have the weird latex suit. It had, like, nodes all over it.
Yep.
And you were, like, in this, like, weird space bubble that, like,
Projected the world.
Yeah,
that's
so
what I was talking about.
We may be thinking the same one.
It's super cool. It's not realistic in a way that, like, oh yeah, we would do it that way, but it makes sense to your human brain, right? It's like, oh, how do you see the things around you? Well, you're in like a vision bubble of it, which is great.
Let me see.
There's also a whole bunch of like I'm trying to think of the name of the animes. There's a whole bunch of cool like Gundam type mecha anime that just created the aesthetics of like the genre, right? I think Evangelion was part of that. It was just like going through the long sequences of like turning on the machines. Let me see if I can find.
Quick correction. The one that I was thinking of is called Mobile Fighter G Gundam.
Wow. Okay.
It may have a different American name, but it doesn't look like it.
Is Mobile Suit what I was thinking about? It doesn't matter. There's a lot. There's a lot of different Gundams.
Oh yeah.
But what you're talking about is reminiscent of what I'm talking about.
One of the reasons it still got to me, it was essentially the Olympics of Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
And like you had like Neo Japan, Neo America, Neo France.
Right.
Neo Holland was the most ridiculous one. Is a Gundam that was a giant windmill.
Okay, I think I've seen that.
They got pretty stupid, but also pretty creative with some of them. Also, hello, Bri.
This is what I'm talking about with the Gundam style. Yeah. Gundam style is a little different. Tricks, welcome in. Don't know this came across my feed, but I saw a funny bird doing art, so I'm just hooked. Yeah, welcome in. I recall Mobile Suit. Okay, Mobile Suit was the one I was thinking, and so they are probably the same thing. I posted a picture of like the old school Gundam in the Discord. That's just ridiculous. It's just like, how do we control this giant robot? I don't know, 15 keyboards? It's like, how people can't type that that much. What is going on here? So it's a little nuts. I really dig Pacific Rim as their concept of like, it's very Evangelion though. Like that's how Evangelion worked too, except it was with one person. You basically like synced your brain up to the giant angel robot. I've made this very sci-fi, and I don't know if that's the smart way to do it. I kind of want to give it a bubble, though.
I mean, you need the little guy somehow.
He's there. Gotta protect him. Giant joysticks. I've always loved the ones with the D100 parts, but I can't keep track of the single dice. Oh, thoughts on the solid single D100s? I've seen, like, they're just spheres, right? They're Chinese. My problem with them has always been that, like, you need a very, very flat surface to roll them, and then you still are kind of like, I think this is the one on top. So, I prefer the double. I prefer the double, but I'm also a fan of just weird dice, so I would be fine owning and or using a regular D100.
Yeah. If I had to roll a D100, I'm just playing up a dice roller, because I know you did a short on it, how to read a percentile die. I still struggle with it. Like, dice roller.
The other way to do it, like, you can even do it with just a D1 regular.
D10?
Yeah, D10, there we go. And essentially just roll them one at a time.
The only dice I would really like to get is a nice big D20.
It's like a big D20?
Yeah. It's
You
just
make those.
a big supersized D20.
I don't like these robot fingers. I'm gonna try something different.
With nice sharp corners on it.
Yeah, I'm thinking too much like Gundam right now. This is a Warforged.
Yep.
Should be made out of fake bones
And wood.
and ligaments, yeah, and wood. It's magic, yo. How does he control the fingers with the joysticks? I remember there's a game that came out a while ago called Elite. Shoot, what was it called? Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous. And it was a star, like, spaceship fighter sim. And it used the whole keyboard. Like, I had to print out a chart that told me what each key did on the keyboard, because it was up to, like, finalities of like different fins on different parts of the ship and stuff, and it was bonkers and hard to control because you're like floating through three-dimensional space and like you're applying velocity instead of just going forward, you know. And yeah, I crashed into a lot of planets on accident, so that was fun. Double dice is good for the click clack. Yeah. No, people struggle. People struggle with the D10s, but it's really just because nobody knows what 00 means. I rolled 1,000. It doesn't help that some of the dice are written differently.
Yep.
So, depends on the... You really just have to sit down, and every time I have somebody roll a D100, I just clarify, like, okay, is this 100 or is this 100? They're like, that. I'm like, okay, go for it. And then let them roll it from there. So as long as you're consistent, it's fine. Unraised Heart, welcome in. A 10 and a 1 is 11. A 10 and a 0 is 10. A 0, 0 and a 1 is 1. 0, 0 and a 0 is 100. I know that's confusing. I'm so sorry.
I did not make these dice.
Yep.
It is a little weird. It's like,
Mhm.
why?
It's just, yeah, I'm pretty sure double zero's meaning depends on the other dice. Yeah, and so it's confusing because you can't roll 0. That's the weird part of it. Because you could see that 10 and 0, which is technically 10 and 10, is 100, and that's totally fine, but then double 0 and 1 is 10. And I think that's more confusing. Or sorry, double 0 and double 0 and 0 is 10. Because technically this is 0 and this is 10. Because the dice goes from 1 to 10. And that's why I think it's better just to say that this is 100. Because it's the rarer state. Whereas 10 plus whatever number you're adding to it is going to eventually... This would technically be 20 otherwise. And I don't like that. So it's just 10. Use the 0 for the 0, except in this situation where it becomes 100. I think I'm about done with this Robo Boy. We are doing the viewer suggestions today, so if you have not put your suggestion on the docket, feel free to put it in the chat, and I will add it to the list, and then the dice gods decide what we draw. So. Your brain needs carbs.
Do they?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking of Fall Guy. He needs glucose. Brains are weird.
Brains are dumb.
There's a really interesting argument to be made, and I've had this argument at the university a lot, about how, like, the human eye is amazing, like, in that it's quite powerful considered to a lot of other types of vision in the animal kingdom, but it's so easily tricked because it's kind of stupid, and our brains are the same way. We have amazingly powerful brains, and you could just hack the hell out of them. Not like physically, but like trick your brain in a lot of different ways. That's seems like a bad thing. Like playing with meditation and attention and yeah. Super powerful computer. Real stupid.
Yep.
Any specific theme or suggestion for just anything? Normally we just do D&D or Pathfinder. You know, I prefer things that are vague. So like, I like RPGs because they give you that class. Like, pick a race, pick a class. That's it. And just go with that.
Also, no mimics, no fan art.
Yep, no mimics, no fan art. Somebody suggested a warehouse today, which is a funny joke, but that falls into the mimic category.
Also, kind of fan art as well, because Monster House is just like a warehouse.
What is Monster House?
You never heard Monster House? It's a movie about a monster house
Oh, no, okay, I know what you're talking about.
that eats people.
Yeah.
It was a kids' movie.
I think there's a Munchkin card called is it the Where Outhouse?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
No, I think it's just an outhouse mimic. I might be thinking of something different. You can also hack it physically, like you might end up going to prison afterwards. Yeah, no, don't do that. There's a bunch of biohackers that I was reading about in college that are trying to, like, basically turn themselves into cyborgs. And it was really funny because, like, this guy was trying to get non-stop biotelemetry, so like heart rate, stuff like that. And the first thing he did is he basically like took a cell phone and put all the sensors on it. Like, it was the size of a cell phone, and he's like, I want to implant this in my arm, and doctors were like, no. We're not doing that. What are you talking about? And he found somebody to do it. And so this guy just had like a brick in his arm. And he's like, I'm so cool. We're like, oh. So a warehouse becomes a hotel on a full moon. I think it's a person that becomes a house during the full moon. But this is the problem, right? Like, that's why no mimics, because it's literally just, it's anything and everything. So if that was your suggestion, feel free to suggest something else. But biohacking is weird, but kind of interesting.
My friend, if he could, would turn himself into a cyborg.
I mean, I'm at the point right now where I will sign up for, hey, fix my eyeball, you know? And if that's like robot eye, it's like, well, how good is it, you know?
You would just be the Tokusa then, from...
Yeah. Resistance is futile. Welcome to the goblins. Yeah, welcome to the goblins. Dodge Segan? Dodge Segan? Dodge Segan? Yeah. Welcome in. I'm going to be posting some members only content up pretty soon, and then we'll have the Patreon rewards will also be going out for tokens, digital tokens and stuff here in the next week or two. So I just got stickers last night, so I'll be sending those off pretty soon as I finish the new artwork. So I want to print that off and send that out too. So that'll be fun. Only thing going through my head is the Displacer Beast or Tabaxi doing normal cat things. Yeah, I would prefer if you gave me like a Displacer Beast or a Tabaxi and then a class. Because that's a little more interesting than just drawing a cat, right? I could just draw a cat. But I like making characters. I like drawing characters. This guy got really scribbly, but I think that's okay. He looks pretty funny. Class Displacer Beast Wizard. Yep, done. I'll put it on the list. So it's like 30 cents. Why is it so cheap? I don't know. I think I just put it on like $1 because that seems like the right amount. Dang it, excuse me. What was it? Find your table breaker, yeah. Especially if that's made out of titanium. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Is it solid? They could make two separate domes and then like weld it together. I'm done with this one. I'm going to move on to the next one. Rolling the dice. 6. An ogre ninja that thinks he's stealthy. I dig it. Does he think he's stealthy, or is he stealthy? These are the questions. These are the questions. Was the armored headband a ninja thing or a Naruto thing? I think it was a ninja thing beforehand. I always love the traditional frontline characters in stealth role dynamics, especially if they do the intimidation stealth. Yeah, which is it's really funny because like bugbears are ridiculously stealthy and huge, which is always interesting to me. Partially because I think I mean they're goblinoids, right? They were for a long time. I don't know if they are anymore.
They still are.
Okay, good. We were talking about hobgoblins too. It's like kind of doing weird stuff with them. Not us talking about doing weird stuff with them. D&D is doing weird stuff with them.
Well, they're just making like all goblins like related to Fae now.
Yeah.
Kind of like, which is fine.
Yeah, I think it's actually like almost better thematically and canonically for it. Like because that still retains their I don't want to say uniformity, but like they're related to each other, just not as a singular group, as part of a larger group, right? Which I think is totally fine.
Yeah. Because, like, the lore for hobgoblins now is that their main god, Maglubliet, like, just took them, killed their original god, and stole them from the Feywild.
Okay.
Like, literally kidnapped them, brainwashed them, and made them into his army, because he's a god of like tyranny, subjugation, all bad things.
Oh man.
So,
does that mean that any liberator paladin should be like trying to convert them? You've been tricked.
I mean,
Your god is alive.
I would.
That sounds pretty normal.
I would do it.
Bugbears being part of the goblin family always catch me off guard, even though I'll never forget about it, yeah. So I can blame more things on the Fae? Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. I was going to have him be kind of slouched, but I think it'd be more interesting if he's just kind of like trying to blend in with a crowd here. Gotta have a good ninja scarf.
Sorry, I got distracted by Josh Hawley. His punch bowl face.
I don't know who that is.
You're good then.
Okay. Brad, thank you for the gifted membership. Ultimate Ninja Boy, enjoy. I feel like ogres just have to be so top heavy. This guy's just like 90% coat.
It's be a massive coat.
I used to make people pay more money if they're playing a large size creature to like fit their armor. And then I had somebody play a tiny creature, and they're like, "Can I just sell half of my armor every time?" And I was like, might be a problem here.
Yeah, I think that was maybe the role, or maybe not an actual role in 1E Pathfinder, but in 2E they've made it where like it's the same price. It doesn't
Yeah, I'm a big fan of
too
like
much of a disadvantage and annoyance.
yeah like I used to do what I used to do is if someone was playing a large size creature and they found something they wanted to use, I'd basically be like, yeah, you can't really wear it right now because it's too small, but you can go somewhere and pay a fee and they'll fit it for you, right? And then I was like,
Yeah.
you should really do that for all non-magical armor. I think that's totally fine. 3 ogres in a trench coat? That would be a big coat.
That's a circus tent.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, how do you deal with the music part of your live streams? Is it your own playlist, or do you use non-copyright video or website? Only asking because I'm going to try live streaming also. Yeah, so I used to use Pretzel Rock, and then like I paid them a monthly thing, and then I started getting copywritten by just a bunch of people, and so every day after live streams, I would have to go in and like file all of this paperwork, being like, here's the Pretzel Rock disclosure. I'm allowed to use this music, and I would have to do that like 8 times a day.
Yeah.
So I stopped using them.
Once a week.
And then I started using like non-copyright sound playlists on Spotify, and then I started getting copywritten on all those too. So it's like those aren't legitimate, or people are falsely claiming them, and in which case I can't fight that through Spotify because Spotify doesn't allow streaming apparently. So I just stopped using it when I found that out. And I was like, okay, Spotify's not going to fight for me. I'm not going to use their service. So so that's fine. So then, sorry to get beat around the bush, I found a bunch of people on Patreon that are basically making music for streamers, and I do their Patreons and I get their stuff. This specifically is Thor from Pirate Software. He's released the soundtrack what's it called? His game, Heartbound. He released this is the Heartbound soundtrack. And he goes through and he fights all the people that do copyright claims against it because it's his music, and he has let people use that for streaming. So I supported him on Patreon, or maybe it wasn't Patreon. I think it was Patreon, but and I'm using his music currently. So there's him.
Yeah.
There was a few other people. I used to use what was it? D20 Music. I used his stuff for a long time. Another Patreon guy that just released music for. I think he's working on his own video game now though, so I don't know if he is still hosting that, which is why I stopped using it because he doesn't host it anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of cool people out there that will put their music up for that, and I look for them. Because I know that they care about it and they're doing it for streamers, versus like going through Spotify or finding a playlist on YouTube, because you never know. You can't trust those people. I found one YouTube safe streaming playlist, and I used it once, and every single song got claimed. So I'm pretty sure it was just like bait essentially. Is Patreon a better option? It doesn't have to be through Patreon, but it's just a fact. Like I basically try to pick single people, so that if I see things that are getting claimed that aren't them, it's like I know it's fake, right? So that's the big thing.
Yeah, a YouTuber I watch a lot. They do a lot of like academic, educational videos, and they have like it's like 30 seconds, maybe not even 30 seconds, like 10 seconds of like from the public domain Chopin music, piano, and it got copyrighted several times. So he took that, paid a musician to tweak it enough, and he like copyrighted it for himself.
Yep, that's one way to do it.
Because he's just like, I'm only using 10 seconds, so like
you don't need the whole
this.
song. Yeah.
Yep. And so, and like recently, when he started using that new music, Universal Music flagged it as copyright. I was like, no, that's not yours. Death to corporations is basically what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of music is tough. Music is tough for streamers, and there's a lot of people on Twitch that just say fuck it, right? Like, and then they listen to whatever they want, and that makes them stuck on Twitch because Twitch is more lax about it. If you use like a really copywritten song, sometimes they'll ding your account and you won't be able to use it at all. But but it like yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's tough. But that's my suggestion. Either go find creators, content creators that stream that are sharing their work that allow you to use it. Wintergotten actually has a whole bunch of music, but they ask that if you make something with it, you basically don't monetize your stuff, which is kind of rough. Maybe they don't ask that you don't monetize, but you're not allowed to like copyright claim your other work in it, which is fine, right? Like, because if you say, hey, try to find people that are stealing my work, and it finds all of the other Wintergotten sounds, like that's a problem, right? So because I want to be able to make sure that people aren't stealing my drawings, I have to leave that on. And yeah, and so it's fine. It's just a matter of making sure it's a process. It's a process and it's complicated.
Yeah. And it seems in the case with the one YouTuber I was just talking about, it was like a bot that like Universal Studios has put out, and it's just like it's another reason for me to like dislike AI.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem with using any kind of like playlist. And that's why I stopped using Pretzel Rock, right? Because like Pretzel Rock is also doing that, and like they're claiming my stuff. But it's like, you idiots! I work for you. You have my thing. Why do I have to fill out the paperwork when you guys like? I should be on a whitelist because I've signed up for that, right? And it just doesn't always work, and it just causes me more of a hassle. So they lost my business.
Like the losers they are.
Yeah. This guy needs more knives. Be cool. Just be cool.
I may be a little bitter today. Sorry.
That's right. Someone literally got claimed on their own song before. Kind of crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's not unheard of. And part of it is YouTube's issue. Like, it's something YouTube's gonna have to figure out. And part of it is just the way we have it set up. Like, there really should not be a problem. Don't be mad because the like copyright claiming exists, because there are people out there that make music, make content, and it's just widely stolen, right? Like,
yeah,
it just is. And so they should be able to get something out of that, and I think that's fair. There have been a few times when I've used a song or something that for a specific video, and the person that I know made it claims it, and it's like, yeah, that's fair. Like, if you think I used enough of your song that's viable, like, I'll share my stuff with you. I think that's totally legitimate. But it's definitely an issue on Twitch that I think kind of needs to be looked at a little more, because Twitch is still very much like the Wild West. I really get discouraged when I see YouTube channels that have like millions of subscribers and they just are stealing content. Like, not even like, oh, these are my favorite Family Guy clips. It's like, these are just episodes of Family Guy. Like, this is not your content to share. What is happening? So, who knows? Who knows? I want more knives. I want more knives on this guy. What do you think?
I don't see any knives on this guy.
I just erased them all because I didn't like the way they looked. So I want more knives. That's what we're working on now. I literally lost a 4.5-hour stream completely a couple years back due to my friend humming Seven Nation Army for like 3 to 6 seconds. So now YouTube does have a functionality of like, if something is being claimed, so like here's where it's being claimed and what it is. Do you want to mute that part of the video, or do you want to like do something else? Like I had a live stream last, like I said that I used a Spotify playlist that was YouTube safe, and it, literally like every single song was claimed. So I just muted the entire video. It's just like, cool, that video just doesn't get sound now. And that's kind of what you got to do sometimes. So I'm glad they have that, because that's now a thing you can do. You can go through and you can edit those out. But it's a process, especially on large live streams, because like every time you want to clip out 10 seconds worth of video, they have to reprocess the whole video, and it's like, oh, this is going to take me a week to fix, and that sucks. So that's why I just muted the entire thing.
Damn you, YouTube.
Yeah. What YouTube needs to be able to do is let you go through and edit all of them at one time and then reprocess the video. But they don't expect people to get copyright claimed, 40 times.
They should, considering it's their ridiculous program that's causing this.
That's fair. I mean, if they're gonna have an AI that can do that, like they should expect that to pop up from time to time.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about the ogres from Delicious in the Dungeon. Not a
The
fan.
Oni people?
Yeah.
I think that's actually what they are. They're Oni, but like
I think so.
English translation just calls them ogres.
Yeah, I mean they're I think that's pretty common too, so like not just for that show, but
Yeah.
dispute all button.
Unless you mean the orcs, who are like hairy pig people.
Nope. I'm talking about the ogres, the Oni. I just like normal sized head, and then they're like, "What if body like this?" I'm like, "Why? Why is this? What's going on?" Which I think is what I've done here.
That's how the artist wanted to draw them, I guess.
Decisions were made. Gotta have a ninja scroll.
Yeah, she like published a book of like all her, like she does like body sketches every day,
Oh yeah, that'd be cool to see.
and does like, so like one day will be like dedicated to like orcs, and like there will be a bunch of different body sketches of like male orcs and female orcs with slightly different body shapes. Same with the ogres.
I bought into a Kickstarter a while back. It was Masters of Anatomy, and they just basically went out to a shit ton of different artists and just had every single artist draw a male and female figure from the front and from the side. That's it. So it's like 200 pages of like all the pages look like this, but they're just completely different styles, and it's awesome. I love it.
That's cool.
I should share that with you guys someday. But that kind of stuff's cool. I like that. I appreciate that kind of thing. I think I'm done with this bad boy. I feel like this is still proportionate. It's just like the jacket throws off the perspective a little bit. Yeah, I mean, like if I were to draw a real, like just a beefy ogre barbarian, I would essentially draw them like this with the big arms. That's what I was saying. Like, ogres just need to be top heavy, I feel like. There's a troll in the dungeon. Burr. I dig that. I think the issue I have with the dungeon meshy one is that they're ogre proportioned, but they look human, and that weirds me out. like it's not monstrous enough. It just looks like a really weird person. So, changing swashbuckler very drunk, so he's only half transformed into a half elf. Gotcha. Okay. That's kind of funny. Do I complain about this? That's the question. We have a rule that's kind of an unspoken rule, which is why, because I didn't say it, I feel kind of bad. If you want me to draw a changeling, I usually just draw them as a changeling, because otherwise they're a mimic. But this one's half and halfy, and that's kind of interesting. So I might just do that. I'll put it on the list. I'll put it on the list, and we'll see what happens. Normally, I just draw them as full changelings, because otherwise it's a mimic, and you can just do whatever you want with it, right? It falls into the no mimic rule, but that would weird me out too. Yeah. Good. 8. Toy Soldier Warforged. Ooh, we're drawing lots of Warforged today.
That's the Tin Tight Soldier.
What's that from?
Tin Fast Soldier. That's what it is. Tin Fast. It's an old. It's like the Nutcracker, but not the Nutcracker.
Gotcha.
It's just like a little tin soldier that's like missing an arm or something like that. I don't know. It's weird. I remember from like kindergarten. We went and see a ballet of it. I don't remember the ballet. I just remember we went to it.
Is there... Okay, one question. What's the story behind the mimic rule? Essentially, the story behind the mimic rule is when something is not something, then everything is everything. So, people used to just write, like, bugbear, rogue, who is mimic? And, like, everyone started adding is mimic on the end of it. Or a changeling that looks like a human. It's like, so you want me to draw a human, right? Like, when you try to ask me to draw something that is something else, it is rife with abuse. People can just troll up to high heaven. So we just ban it. Which is
we also had a day where one suggestion got just turned into like a mimic all the way down.
Yeah.
It was.
It's Mimi. That's so we banned it. Every now and again, I'll just have a mimic day where it's like, people send me your best mimic ideas, and oddly enough, people don't participate. So I don't know. So I stopped doing it. Catching shapes from transformation can be funny.
Transgressive.
Yeah. I dig changelings, by the way. Like, I do like changelings. But I like the concept of changelings being changelings, right? So if you want me to draw a changeling, I'm going to draw a changeling. Because really, like, I want X, but as a mimic, it's like, you want me to put a, like, do you want me to draw, what's the word I'm looking for? The mid-transformation thing is a good example of what I'm trying to get at. If I'm going to draw a mimic, I want to be very apparent that it is a mimic and not draw it hiding as something else, right? Like, draw a treasure chest that's actually a mimic. It's like, so do you want me to just draw a box and then be like, there's some fake teeth? Or do you want me to draw something that is like actively looks like a mimic and is terrifying, right? Which I think is much cooler. I like this. So if you want me to draw a changeling, I want to draw it like this. I want to draw it as a changeling. That's where that goes.
Speaking of mimic,
hit me.
I kind of like the direction that the author of Dungeon Meshi went with mimics. Just like instead of like, oh, it's a creature that's just like, where it's more or less just like a hermit crab that takes over a chest. Because that's kind of what they are in Dungeon Meshi.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of funny, and that they hide from coin beetles, because the coin beetles will eat the mimic.
The cool thing with Dungeon Meshi is that like it's an ecosystem, which is I think something that D&D doesn't really talk about much.
Yep.
Which is great.
And like, actual thought was put into said ecosystem.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Are mimics different than the like the walking armor? I can't remember.
I think they said they may have been like related.
Related? Okay.
Because they're both like, because the living armor is like mollusks.
Yeah.
Control, like linking together like a colony and controlling the suit.
I really do dig the idea of like mimics just being slimes. Mimics being slimes that can basically slowly turn into stuff. Or even more so, like I'm of the opinion that like the first thing a mimic should eat is the thing that it wants to become, and then it just kind of uses that, which is very much like that floating armor thing or flat whatever animated armor. So I dig that concept. I think that's great. Mimics being an ooze is great. One species that I was like the Yanti, I would prefer the Naga abominations. Were the playable race? Yeah, and I actually made a video about that years ago. I very much do like the Yanti just being like looking superhuman is boring. I very much like the abominations and the mutated snake folk. Like if you're gonna be a snake folk, be a snake folk, right? Don't be a weird looking person that has snake powers for some reason but looks completely normal. So.
Oh, they're spies.
They are spies, yeah, and I get that, but like, it's boring. It's boring.
This person who only plays humans.
Yeah, I like playing humans. They're fun. If you're gonna play something weird, don't be a human. If you want to play a human, play a human.
I say this, and yet all the characters I've played with you with have all been elves or plants.
That's what I'm saying. Be honest with yourself, you know? You want to play monster, play monster. The story behind... I play a lot of monsters when I DM, so I get to be a human when I don't. The story behind the character is a family suffering from the dead son syndrome and made a deal with a hag. You have to give it users a change. Yeah, that's good. So see, once again, like, that's a cool character. I don't dislike changelings. The problem is with when you sit down to, like, get a commission from somebody... and you had to try to somebody explain that. You tell them the story, but it's like there's no visual cue of what kind of image you want from the backside of it, right? Which is why I'm saying like you giving me the like drunk half transformed. That's kind of interesting. Like I might draw that still. We'll see what happens. The dice gods decide. But for the most part, I usually when I draw a changeling, I just draw it as a changeling because that's more interesting to me. My biggest issue is that they are classed as pure blood, but are very obviously looked mixed with humans. Yeah, that's super weird too, right?
And that is like the weirdest part. I do agree. Is like, so why do you call them purebloods? Because like they're like you because like the lore of them is that they're sent out to like start spreading the influence of the anti cults, then to like prep cities for
assimilation,
the inevitable. Yeah,
it's super weird. It's super weird
because they're like. They want world domination.
So here's the other side of it, which I think maybe is the more the better explanation of it, is the Yanti are cultists, right? Like most of them start human and then take on snake guys.
Yeah.
Very much like the Drow turning people into, like they flesh warp people into Driders. You flesh warp people into the abomination. And so the purebloods, I think, are supposed to be like humans that have perfectly assimilated without the flesh warping. I think was the thought, right? It's like you've not been physically corrupted by the transformation, so you are pure. You're pure snake grossness. Cool story, cool idea. I like that there are, lizard people among us as as a story hook.
They literally are just lizard.
But
the lizard man.
But visually it's boring. That's the problem. That's the only problem with it. Visually it's boring. If you said, "Oh no, there's a snake man over there," and it's just a dude with snake eyes, it's like, what are you talking about? But if you say there's a snake man over there, and it's a guy, yeah, exactly. There should be a tiefling. But it's a guy with a snake head and snake arms. It's just like, oh fuck, what do we do? How do we deal with this? So I think I don't know. I like the idea, the story idea, but visually it is boring. Especially when the whole shebang behind it is the flesh warping part. It's like, yeah. I was gonna try to make this guy just like a wooden. Maybe he's just got stick legs. I don't know. I don't want to make this guy just like an action figure. I do feel like he just needs like painted on armor though. War Priest is great. Lauren, welcome in. War Puppet. Bada, welcome in. Yep. I don't know how I feel about the lizard people.
Like that's a conspiracy theory?
As a conspiracy theory, yeah. Like I love reading about conspiracy theories. But like
it's the most woolly one, I feel like. That and Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah, Hollow Earth theory is an interesting one too. Like here's my jam with how do I say this? How do I say this without sounding completely insane?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because every time we bring this up, I think you're a bit crazy for.
I love it. I just love it. Entertaining it, yeah. I'm a big fan of watching. I mean, you're the same way with cryptids, though, right? Like, well, maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't think they're real. I just like the stories about them.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's the big thing. Like that's I love hearing people talk about it I don't buy into it at all. Because like Hollow Earth is a really cool world building, and like, oh my god, if that was true, let's go check that out. But that's the thing, is like there is no proof of it, and if there was, I feel like someone would actually be pursuing it, right? Besides just writing books.
Like there are places in the earth that we can get pretty deep into.
I mean, but not really. Like very, very shallow.
But also, the crust is also pretty shallow. Just saying.
8 miles of dirt is the farthest we've ever digging. Which sounds like a lot. It's not. It's really not. There's a pretty deep mine, like, under the ocean, which is interesting. I think I just read a report about, like, underwater oceans, which is awesome. Apparently there's a shit ton more water on Earth, but it's all underground, which is great. Drop down, chicken bone. It would take 1 minute and 45 seconds to do so. Also be dead from the fall damage. Yeah.
Yeah, the Earth's crust is between 3 to 25 miles thick.
Yeah.
Imagine the greater one is like, yeah, this is a mountain.
Exactly.
You're digging but I think it's in Argentina, maybe Chile. There is a cave that goes super deep. And it's like kind of cool. It's a big giant crystal cave with like pillar-sized quartz in it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's so deep that, like, it's too hot for normal people to, like, stay too long in.
So, to try to get out what I was saying without sounding completely wackadoo.
Yep, go ahead.
If anybody could convince me of any of this being real, I want to jump on it. Like, you tell me that they're lizard people, like, let's get that going. Like, let's actually check out the lizard people, right? And my mother used to say, like, you don't talk about the devil because, what's the saying?
Invites him in.
Yeah, it invites him in. And I'm like, but the thing is, like, if you can prove that ghosts are real, or that demons are real, or that the devil is real, wouldn't that prove that God might be real? Like, so this seems like any appropriate person seeking the truth about religion should A, believe, and B, be trying to prove all these things. So, so when it comes to, like, ghost hunting, it's like, I want to check it out. I want to look at it. I don't believe any of it. Like, nothing someone has shown me has been like, fuck yeah, ghosts. But I've seen some weird shit. I've seen some weird shit in my life. I don't know how to explain it. So, you know, we are where we are.
Yeah.
We love our interior, son. Yeah.
It's interesting because, like, at least with the Catholic Church, for a good while, they're like, yeah, no, witchcraft isn't real because
we kill them
only
all.
God can. Well, it's not even that. It's just like only power comes from God and nothing else. Satan has no power. And then there's this big shift, like, after the Protestant Reformation, that, like, maybe there are witches.
Yeah.
And
I think the whole, like,
dumb.
Yeah, I got the book from Brian might have sent it to me, but, like, who was it? Someone was telling me to read the White and Black Magic book, which is really good. I might try to send a copy to Corvus. It's interesting. But yeah, a lot of, like, the reformation of magic in the real world is based around religions.
Yeah.
Because the religions are basically trying to steal power from paganism and other things. And so it's the whole, like, witches are bad thing that happened in early American history is super fucked up. Super fucked up and has nothing to do with anything. And it's weird. Yeah. The earth is flat. Like, if I dig in the ground, will I fall into space? You'd think so. I swear I saw a ghost in Ferdinand and I should have shouted so loud in my life. Yeah. Yep. Northern Idaho is creepy as fuck. Like, I'm sure it's just like being in Appalachia. It's just like when you have enough forest or land or rocks, all kinds of weird stuff happens. I hate it.
Yeah, I've walked around my property at night. I've walked from, like, one house to another and super early in the morning, like, where it's, like, still not even, like, sun cresting over the horizon yet.
Mm-hmm.
And just, like, like, yeah, the only thing I'm scared of running into, probably a skunk and maybe a coyote. Those are the only things I really don't want to run into.
Man, if you've ever been on a farm and been walking in the dark and accidentally come up on a black Angus cow just hanging out in a field, oh my god, like, your freaking ghost leaves your body. Just like pitch black and then giant creature. Like,
not saying I've not been spooked at night. It's just like, I am very quickly to rationalize, like, yeah, that was a deer. Because I have been spooked by a deer before that almost kind of ran over me as it was trying to get away from me, as I apparently snuck up on it while I was in our garden.
Like, I've also had to deal with, like, bears and other random critters, and I'm pretty sure something weird happened when I was camping one time, and I'm pretty sure it was probably just a drunk dude, right? Like a drunk dude walking through our camp. But it was like, it's spooky, right? Like, we don't know, and so we make up these
scared
stories.
of being around other people than I am, like, being in the woods by myself.
What was the thing? Like, most women say that they'd rather run into a bear than a man in the woods. And it's like, most men, I think, would rather run into a bear than a man in the woods.
Oh, they agree. Like, people start asking men that. Like, yeah, no, the bear.
Like, bear's supposed to be there. What the fuck's this guy doing? Like,
Yep. I can scare the bear away if it's most bears in the United States.
Yeah.
If I'm in Alaska, that's a different story.
My general rule of walking places in the country is, if it's getting close, don't investigate it. Yeah. It's the horror movie mentality, right? It's just like, something weird happens, get the fuck out of there. That's it. Sure, you can rationalize it later. Right now, just get the fuck out. Just leave. Just leave, don't be there.
Because, yeah, like, I think the scariest thing I would run into is probably, like, a coyote. And God, I hate when they're, like, in their little packs just howling.
Mm-hmm.
That's, like, the scariest thing to hear in the middle of the night.
Not a polar bear, by the time you see them, it's probably too late. Yeah, no, you don't want to be anywhere near polar bears. Black bears, I've chased off black bears with stuff. That's not a problem. You say you're in Alaska? Nope, I don't think I did. I've never been to Alaska. I should go to Alaska though sometime.
Just like, if I was walking around in Alaska, yeah, no, I would not be walking around Alaska. Alaska's too dangerous. There's moose, there's wolverines, there's crazy people.
Yep.
Polar bears in some part, grizzly bears in the other part.
Okay, the elbows don't make any sense, but I think there's the toy soldier. Got little clappy hands. I was gonna give him fingers, but I don't think I will. I think I'll just leave it like that.
Boys don't have fingers.
That's what I'm saying.
They just have little crab hands, basically.
It's a little nutcrackery, but that's fine.
You stole the tutu from someone?
I was trying to give him like a skirt, like a battle skirt. But then I was like, if he's made out of wood, that's either going to be painted on or like extra cloth. So yeah, got a little tutu. Maybe you should have like coat tails.
We also have loose gun laws here, but the issue is that we have a lot of canyons, gorges, probably more correct term than canyons, that they would just run into and like hide.
You ever stepped on a rabbit in the dark?
No.
that
You ever
breaks you.
stepped on a rabbit, get so scared you pooped your pants, and that's what it's like to drive a Ford pickup.
What are you talking about?
It's a meme.
Okay.
People making fun of the Ford pickup trucks commercials.
Yeah, I'm done with this guy. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Ratfolk cleric playing the drums in homage to the thunder god. Behold my thunderous applause. Not a polar. Cheapos, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta get naked and play a drum to the Thunder God, you know? Rats have terrifying jaws. I hate it. Tiny horses. Alright. I'd like to imagine a cleric at least attempting to play Twilight of the Thunder God. Is that a song? Do I know that? I don't know that song. If a changeling could change their colors fast enough, could they hypnotize or give seizures? Ooh, I don't know.
They sort of had a... They had a similar power. It wasn't...
Yeah, they terrorize
They used
people,
to be able
right?
to, yeah, make someone feared of them.
Which I still dig. I will definitely allow that, even if it's not mechanical anymore.
Yeah. It was like in the playtest and they removed it, which was lame.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want things to be their thing, right? It's like, let the changelings be the changeling. The more everything becomes the same, the less interesting things are, I feel. I like things that are unique, because I think they make the world better. Lots of unique things.
Which I feel like D&D's, and probably more Pathfinders, less Pathfinders focus now, is making classes more unique.
Yeah.
And ancestries are just the secondary thought, because at their, like, I don't know, 5th level, they don't matter.
Yeah, there's definitely the loss of basically anybody can make anything now. And at first I was really bummed about that, because I was like, oh no, I mean, dwarves aren't dwarves anymore. But like, I do think you can still build the classic dwarf with all of their normal ancestries, but it's really supposed to be giving you the options to, you know, have somebody that was raised by dwarves, which I love. I think that's great. I think that it's good that it exists. But it does open up the floodgates for people to just like min-max stuff and make it less viable. I wish they would make the ancestries more. They just need more. That's really the problem. Like, the ancestries need to have, I would say, double the amount of ancestry feats, so that you really have to pick and choose and make some cool choices. Because right now they don't really matter. A lot of it's just like, I guess the goblins get, like, they can bounce, like they take less fall damage, or they can eat stuff, which is fun. I just want more. I think that should be a big thing they focus on, and they don't.
Yeah,
they focus on the classes.
At least with Pathfinder, it's...
Yeah.
I realize... Because, like, if it's a core ancestry, they have so many feats, it's, like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then it's just, like, if it's anything below that, you're getting less and less, which is frustrating.
Yeah, and I do think maybe that is really where the issue lies, is that a lot of the non-core ancestries are really just them taking things from adventure paths and being like, oh, okay, we added this guy and we want to give him these cool things, and now those go into the book. But it's like, you need to flesh that out, though. Like, because right now it's not complete. It only works in that one situation.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but, like, they've not made any NPCs for, like, the Galoma or Strix. I don't think has been any Strix NPC
Really?
in any of the adventure paths.
Where do they come from, then? They're just from the book?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
it. Nothing else. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah, that is frustrating.
Paizo, if you're listening, get your shit together and make more ancestry feats for, like, things like the Strix and Galoma.
Every single book needs to have more ancestry stuff in it. Everyone.
Period.
Just right in the back. New ancestry stuff. And specifically because...
Like, you add a bunch of useless spells to adventure paths, why not feats?
Yeah, just more feats.
For ancestries.
More ancestry feats. Because I think because we're at a point now where it's not locked into here's a goblin and here are the goblin features, right? Like, because that's how it used to be. It used to be like, here's a goblin, here's their stuff, here's what goblins get, 1, 2, 3, and then sometimes it was like, here are 4 options that you can swap these out for. And it's like, cool. And then when they added the next book, they're like, we added 1 more of these that you can swap these out for. These don't exist anymore. This list can now be infinitely long. And you could just keep adding them in new books. Like, hey, here's 5 new ancestries that aren't goblin related, because it's just like, what if you grew up in a junkyard? That works for anybody. Like, there's no reason to just keep adding these every single time. Because I do hate it when you, like even with the Galoma, it's like at level 1, your choice is this one thing. And it's like, that's not a choice then. Like, give me more options.
Or like with the Strix. And like, I get like, oh, people then it's like, oh, then just take a versatile heritage. I'm like, I don't want that all the time.
Yep. Exactly. Like, there should be general ancestry feats, like you grew up poor, rich, whatever. Whether or not it's like, I like making characters that are militaristic, and so you can take some of those. Sometimes like you get proficiency in a weapon. It's like, that's neat, but it's not interesting, right? You know, that's the min-maxing aspect of it that I'm worried about.
No.
So,
well, even then, like, I don't think anyone ever takes those like weapon proficiencies, and it's like,
I do. I do all the time. But
because it's just like, if you're like any class that gives you martial weapons, you don't need them.
Yeah. I'm playing a wizard right now that is I've made a hobgoblin elf dancer. That is a wizard that uses 2-handed swords, and it's really funny. Not 2-handed swords, 1-handed swords. Because if I use 2-handed swords, I lose my spell song.
Yeah, it's
more. We demand more.
Come on, Paizo, get your shit together. Like, release a book just of ancestries.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
Because they've done it before.
Yeah.
In 1.8, where it's just like, this is a book about gnomes, half-elves, orcs, or half-orcs, like the Bastards of Golarion, as it was called. And it's just like, these are all about the half people. Here's a bunch of new feats for them. And archetypes that you could take. Back when 1E, they were a bit different.
Are you the god of hammers? Sorry, I just thought of that one. Trying to figure out what a thunder god sigil would look like, and I'm just thinking it's lightning.
Yeah, little cross lightning bolts.
Yep. Thor Ragnarok was good. It was a good movie. And it's a great line.
Is that the one where he gets sent to the junkyard dimension?
That's Love and Thunder.
You sure?
Maybe?
Where he, like, gets shaved? Like, they cut all his hair off and he's in a gladiator fight?
I think that's Love and Thunder. Ragnarok is, with his sis. Oh, maybe I am mixing those two up.
Because Love and Thunder is where What's-Her-Face becomes Thor.
Yeah, that is Love and Thunder. And I think he already has the... Ragnarok is when Asgard explodes, and then Love and Thunder is with Gore the God Killer. So, Thor Ragnarok is about his sister. With the cool hat.
Yeah. Hela. As
Yeah.
they call her. Because they couldn't just say, her name is Hel.
Her name is Hel.
So dumb.
Anthony Hopkins says, what are you Thor the god of hammers? And I'm just like, that's awesome. That's great. He's the god of beards. Gore the god killer. Is it Gore or Grom? I think it's Gore.
I have no idea.
Both good movies. The Thor movies are good.
Except for like the Dark Side one, whatever it was, with the Dark Elves.
That was the first
That
one.
one was eh.
That was the first one. It was a little
No, that's
hadn't found
second
its...
one.
What? What's the first one then? The first one he's on Earth.
Where he goes to Earth.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Are there 4 of them? There's not 4 of them.
Yes.
There's Thor. What's the second one? Ragnarok.
Hang on. Nope.
And then there's Love and Thunder.
In order. Thor. Thor the Dark World.
Dark World, okay.
I said Dark Side, I meant Dark World.
Yeah, Darkseid is a villain from the DC universe.
Yeah.
Okay, I was missing
Which is
that
basically
one.
just Apocalypse.
Yeah, no, they were contemporary.
Then you have Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah. I don't remember the second one that much.
It was so bad they showed it too much on TV. That's
Interesting.
how I know like a movie is really bad is when like
When the studio stops caring about it, like, yeah, whatever.
yeah, when like just random TV channels would start showing it like on repeat. I was like, yep, it probably flopped and yeah,
It
it,
existed.
it existed. Because it just kind of doesn't make
It
like
was
any
very,
sense.
if I remember right, it was very Natalie Portman forward.
Yeah, because she goes to Asgard because she gets like
She gets infected with the dark goo, right?
yeah, which is apparently a Infinity Stone.
Yeah. Not that she's
Red
not a good
ether.
actress. It's just like I think the third and fourth movie really hit their stride because they're very like Thor and Loki oriented, which is good.
I think it probably just had bad writing. To be honest, like
could be.
no amount of good acting can fix bad writing.
No.
My humble opinion. Because I know everyone like Twilight. Everyone kind of like thought that Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart couldn't act because it was like no, they were just given bad direction. It was a bad directed movie.
Yeah.
And a not great story, but
I tried to read the book and I gave up on like chapter 2.
yeah.
Not made for me. Not written for me. Not my jam.
No, made for high school girls
Yep.
and Mormon women.
You alright, kid? You gonna get Kit Kat? Go get him. Hey, no. Gentle. I'm gonna grab this cat's butt. Gonna get whapped in the face. Are you more of a marmalade person? It's too melodramatic. Marmalade like Paddington Bear marmalade? What are we talking about?
I like good marmalade. I don't like cheap marmalade.
It's not your jam. Ah, gotcha. What is my jam of choice? Raspberry? Raspberry's pretty solid.
Yep. Raspberry or blackberry will be like my go-to stuff.
Blackberry's good, but like I prefer the raspberry because the seeds aren't as thick.
Sure. I will say though,
blackberry's
I think
very
I
nice.
recently have like really liked apricot
Yep.
jam.
Mm-hmm.
So
My mom makes apricot jam, so I always have it. I get some for Christmas every year. I just don't eat it.
you should ask your mom to send me some.
It's like a jar of apricot jam.
I would gladly take a jar of homemade apricot jam. But like, if I'm just like getting jam and I don't have much of a choice, strawberry.
The strawberry jam is pretty, like, it's hard to fuck up. So like, it's a good choice of just like fallback jam.
Yep.
One Pathfinder kobolds are a little thicker. They look like drakes and stood for 2 legs. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Pathfinder kobolds. Sensors are being jammed. I need to rewatch Spaceballs. So good.
It's on Hulu now? Either Hulu or HBO Max.
What time is it? Well, we can go for 2 hours. Not too bad. I think I'm about done with this bad boy. Gotta bang that drum. I look into Pathfinder kobolds and yeah, Pathfinder kobolds. I draw them more than not. I used to draw, like when I did my kobold video, I like drawing the really long snoot kobolds too. I think that was my claim to fame for a while.
Kind of surprised no one's been asking for like dog kobolds.
Yeah, you know, that surprised me too. I did the dog folk video and nobody cared, so that was a little weird. I thought that would be way more popular than it was.
Yeah, I guess people just hate dogs now. They just don't want them anymore.
Yep.
I don't know why anyone would want a cat. They're terrible.
You heard it here first. People don't like dogs. People don't like dogs no more.
I mean, clearly, because why would they need commercials like playing in the arms of the angel for the...
Oh my good lord.
Clearly no one likes dogs.
Oop, I already did that one. Let's do one more and then we'll probably call it today. Zombie cowboy with a harmonica for lips. How do you have harmonicas for lips? I feel like if it's your lips, that infers that you can open them, and that would make the harmonica not work.
Unless it's like 2 harmonicas, each lip a harmonica.
I suppose that would. Yeah, that's true. Because, like, alternatively, you could say with a harmonica, so do his mouth, because he's a zombie. But the fact that it is his lips, that infers different things. You alright, kid? Hey. Yeah, good job. Oh my.
Maybe
Yeah.
Has a harmonica forced in his mouth, all of Billy Bones from Halloween movie. Zombie had his mouth sewed shut.
None of those words made sense to me, I'm sorry. Billy Bones is the guy from...
The zombie in a Halloween movie with witches that come back from the dead and had his mouth sewed shut. So
Okay, I don't think that was Billy Bones.
Okay.
Who? Bri would know this. Oh no, Bri's not here. Who's the guy from
I think Briley just left.
Yeah, which is bad because this is his favorite movie. Maybe it was Billy Bones. I'm thinking of Bootstrap Bill from Pirates of the Caribbean. And you are thinking of maybe crap. Halloween movie, 3 witches, sisters, candle, book.
Hocus Pocus?
Hocus Pocus. What's the name of the guy, the zombie they summon?
Well, his name is Billy. Billy Butcher.
Billy Butcher? Okay.
I don't know if he has like a...
He did have his mouth sewn shut, which is correct.
Yeah, he did.
But what does that have to do with harmonicas?
Just a harmonica, like, sewn into his mouth was my thought.
Yeah, that's what I drew. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you had written the prompt was harmonica, like, sewn onto his mouth, right? That's different than having a harmonica for lips. I think this could be the inference, right? Like, this could be correct. What we have could be correct. But I'm curious about what's the inference of having lips of a harmonica. Like, if you said you had a telescopic eye, right? That's one thing. That's a visual cue, right? We've got one of these things. But if you have a telescopic eyelids, how does that work? Am I being too pedantic here? I might be being too pedantic. Whale zombie, maybe? Whale zombie? What?
Yeah, because certain whales have braylene,
Oh.
which kind of look like harmonicas.
That would be pretty weird. The baleen just like whistles as it goes.
Also, guess who played Billy from Hocus Pocus?
I know this actually.
See?
Dang it.
Guy who plays all the monsters.
Oh,
Because-
is it?
It surprises me and doesn't surprise me at
Right.
the same time.
It's the guy that plays everything in Del Toro movies.
Mm-hmm. Doug Jones.
Doug Jones. There we go. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, he was the fish man in both
Hellboy.
Hellboy and Shape of Water,
Mhm.
Pan's Labyrinth. Apparently he was in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
He was the
Maybe
Silver
as
Surfer.
this-
Yeah.
Probably. And it's just like, it's like all he does is like monsters,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
he's also a contortionist and mime.
Which is why he's really good at being monsters and being in
Yep.
weird suits. It's like the guy that played Gollum, Andy Serkis.
Yep.
He's kind of famous for the same thing.
He also kind of uses his face for Golem, which is kind of creepy.
And all of the he's a mocap specialist, whereas
Yeah.
Doug Jones is a practical monster contortionist,
Especially. Yep.
which is great. They're both great.
He reminds me of like how what the hell is his name? The guy who played it's Jack Sparrow.
John Depp.
Johnny Depp. Like how Johnny Depp almost always acted in any Tim Burton movie he
Yeah,
made.
yeah, because they're friends. But I do think, I mean, that's part of it, right? It's like when you make a lot of movies that are similar, and like you have people like Doug Jones who are really good at playing those kind of monsters. Like, yeah, you're gonna write parts for them. You're gonna have them constantly be in your movies. They're good at it. They're good at it.
I mean, same with Lucas and Warwick Davis.
Yeah, Warwick Davis is constantly being
Lucasfilms.
Lucasfilms. Yeah,
Is he?
yeah, he's in tons of them.
I only know of actually don't know of any.
Parts for Warwick.
Yeah, yeah. Spielberg likes writing stuff for him. He's a good actor and puppeteer. And I mean, that's why Willow exists, because Lucas wanted to... Warwick Davis wanted to make a movie for himself, where he didn't have to be a puppet. And so they wrote Willow.
Or a leprechaun.
Or a leprechaun, yeah. What are you doing?
Directed by Ron Howard. He was the little boy on Andy Griffin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So weird.
Are you just now... I guess I probably discovered all of these things.
I learned about that like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Like, I knew who Ron Howard was as a director. Didn't know he was a little kid actor.
Yeah.
So I threw in a suggestion, by the way.
Oh, you
I don't
did?
know if you
I'm
saw
sorry.
that.
I did not see it. Oh, I thought you were just talking about Battle Clerics.
Oh, no.
Yeah, okay, I'll put that on the list. There's currently 9 on the list. I think this is probably gonna be the last one. Ooh. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be the last one. And then we'll probably pick it up on Friday again. They're currently on. Oh boy.
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry. I got a spicy kid now, so hold on a second.
Why is it spacey?
He's discovered he likes to take pens, like pens and markers that are capped, and hold them like I hold the stylus, and just like pretend to draw on stuff, which is super cute and great and non-destructive. But he has taken to also yelling wildly while doing it. And I don't know if it's just because he sees me talking to you guys while I'm drawing, and so he's like, "This is how it's done." He's already a streamer. I don't remember what this was. Was this supposed to be a bard? Beep. Beep, beep. You know, I don't see a lot of people playing zombies as zombies. Everybody wants to be a sexy vampire. Nobody wants to be decaying slowly. How rude. Kobolds have an ancestry feat called cringe. They do. It's really funny. Is it called cringe or is it called...
It's cringe.
It's cringe? Okay. Don't kill me.
I think also Cower's another one.
Yeah, it used to be. There's Cower and it must be Cower and Cringe.
Let's see here. I'm looking it up.
I thought it was like Beg, Grovel, and something else. I think. Used to be the old one.
Okay, here it is. Because I know it's there's Cringe, Camper, Slither. Okay, no, I was thinking there's another one like Cringe, but no, it's Scamper and Slither. What I was thinking of.
Okay.
Kid, I know you like chew on this, but I don't want you to chew on it with your teeth.
And then there is Grovel, which is a 5th level feat, where you're essentially attempting a feint action against a creature.
Grovel, Cower, and Beg. I think it's the old one. And that basically would let you, when you're about to die, just like wait. As a reaction, I get to try to convince you not to murder me.
Yep.
Which is super great. Kobolds are fun. Your Child Pepper Child makes me laugh every time he gets vocal in a non-crying way. Yeah, he's pretty funny. He's also learned recently, I think he's trying to laugh, but he'll just, like, get your attention and then smile and go. It's like, what are you trying to do?
Hissing.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, there you go. Maybe I can make you do it for this.
I think my favorite kobold feat,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
which I think it actually is pretty new, of Fleeing Shriek. It's 2 actions.
You need a gun? No, don't grab the pen. Nope, now he's
Each-
seen the dice. He's done.
Each creature in a 10-foot emanation takes 5d6 sonic damage with a basic revoke fort save. And then you stride.
Yeah. Which is super fun. There's a lot of things that have been doing that in the newer builds, which I really enjoy. I got some of them on my Bard, I think. What was it? What was the last thing I was just playing?
You're a summoner.
The Summoner, that's right, because if a creature stops next to you, you can move.
Yep.
Yeah, that's super funny. I think the new champion, Liberator champion, lets you do that too. Just like, someone's attacking your friend, they can move. It's like, neat. I'm all for this. What if he had a hat? Everybody needs a hat. Give him Gandalf's hat. Big foam or plushy dice for the youngling? I think... No, I don't think I have a die yet. That could be the new thing. Every time we make a list and then the kid has to roll the dice. Get a job, you freeloader. He doesn't care. I feel like I should look up what this was supposed to be, because now I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making like a undead scarecrow. I have no idea what's happening. He just wants to be included. I think he just wants to eat the dice. Zombie cowboy. Okay, he was supposed to have a hat. We'll change it from a wizard hat to a cowboy hat, though. I need to work on the polar bear script today. Started working on the game last night. That's fun. So hopefully that'll get actually going somewhere. We got lots of stuff going on, which is great. It's good. It's good. I don't know how much I want the polar bear video to just be like play an awakened animal versus like actual polar bear, you know? Both are good. I think I have to talk about the awakened animals, but for sure.
Totally.
I don't know if I want to make it the main focus.
What you should do,
Yeah.
make a get on Path Builder, make like, I don't know, a level 5 character, and make it a polar bear monk, and share it.
Share it with the community.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
You can do that, because you can just link to Path Builder builds by just sharing like the URL or something like
People can edit it though if you do that, I think.
They can.
That's dangerous.
How's it dangerous?
Because then people can go online and turn him into a Nazi. And then it looks like I'm promoting him.
But you can't put pictures on. Well, I mean, you can put a picture, but it's just like a character build.
You'll have to show me.
Okay.
You'll have to show me because I'm thinking of something different then.
So
I guess
Path
I'm
Builder.
thinking more like, so the way D&D Beyond used to work is you could just share like a PDF of the thing, but with Path Builder, they basically have access to the whole of like changing things up, don't they? Or is it only on their local area or local page if they do that?
So what it is, so like if you say if someone has the full everything, you don't have access to everything if you share the link to it. It's just
vision. You can look at it.
well, you can like edit it, but like I don't think that really matters because it's doesn't like it's like Path Builder where it's just like all the character stuff is there.
Do you remember when
Anyways.
you accidentally put the wrong number into Foundry?
Yes.
Can you take that number and put it in Path Builder and then edit it?
I don't think so
Okay.
because it's a JSON file.
Because the Path Builder, basically, like that code, I think is just so if someone has the code, and then they change it to like a goblin, I think it's a goblin for me then too. 'Cause
No.
the number stays the same. It doesn't generate a new code for them, does it?
No, so it kind of does. So
Okay.
if you share a character build, it will pop up, and then it just is like now essentially copies the build into your local file.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, but the okay, so hopefully it would be a new instance of it, because otherwise, then if you try to load it into Path Builder, it wouldn't know which one to pick, right? That's my problem. That's what I'm worried about.
No,
We should
I don't
test
think
that,
it would
though.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, we should test that
So
sometime.
yeah,
Is there some sort of Pathfinder class that lets me play as a priest with a gun? Yes. It's
Call it cleric.
Pathfinder. Or sorry, Pathfinder. Cleric. It's just
Yep.
you pick cleric and then you take the feat student of the canon, I think is what it's called. Or is that something different?
No, that's just that has nothing to do with guns.
That's a cleric thing. That gives you cleric spells or cantrips, I think.
No, it just it's a
There's a feat for it. There's a feat for it.
so what you
Yeah.
do if you're playing on Pathfinder, pick a god that gives a gun
That works too.
as a favorite weapon. And boom, done. Probably would have the multi-class into Gunslinger just to get some of the reload feats.
Yeah.
Just to make it easier.
You could
on
also
you.
just archetype into Gunslinger. I mean, honestly, I think or just start as a Gunslinger and then start taking your cleric archetype stuff. I think would work better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you'd have full proficiency with the firearm. You could also just take firearm proficiency with anybody. Oh, there goes the kid. Okay.
Yep.
I think that's where we got to call it. I'm gonna have to go chase this kid down. There is our cowboy zombie. Thanks for hanging out today, everybody. It was a little early, and we'll probably do the same thing on Friday, where we'll try to get started a little early and probably end a little early. So, but thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all of the new members we got, which is awesome. I will, like I said, try to put up the member-only videos, which is going to be like process videos, as well as the tokens from the Sagas project. There's still some of those up. So if you haven't seen those, you can go back. There's also in the Discord. You can find those if you're a Patreon member. There's a lot of overlap between Patreon members and the YouTube memberships. So thanks again for hanging out. Have a wonderful week. stay happy, stay healthy, keep your dice on the table. Of course, thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see everybody later. Bye.